Hey guys, I'm Thomas from Fitness Edge in Murrells Inlet. I'll be one of your coaches for the Intro to Fitness. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out for me. My email is thomas@fitnessedgegyms.com. You can adjust the levers underneath to find your proper range of motion. What we want to do is get our feet up, have them about shoulder width apart, and your toes slightly pointed out. What we want is to be able to push the weight through a full range of motion, so knees to about 90 degrees. Push it out without fully locking your knees out. Nice and slow on both directions. Then we'll move forward to our chest press, and we can lower the seat there. On this one, there's a dial, so you can change it to adjust your weight. And we'll lean back, get a nice grip on the handles. And just like the leg press, we'll push through a full range without locking the elbows out. Moving forward next, we'll go to our tricep extensions. So we'll get our seat set how we like. Elbows up ahead, they should mark right with the red dot. And we'll push them forward. You have to remember to lift the handles upwards first to get them into proper position. Slow through both sides of the motion there as well. Our next one, we can adjust the lever to fit our leg size. Most people will be on a large, but if you're a little shorter, you have to move it to a small or medium. And you can adjust the back so that you have enough space to sit down, but you don't want to be back so far your legs can't quite reach. On there, we'll push the pad forward and down nice and slow. You want to get it as high as you can and down as slow as you can without actually setting it all the way down to get a nice burn in the quadriceps. Next thing we have is our shoulder press. Again, you can adjust the seat down below and then adjust the dial to get the weight set to where you like it to be. We have different variety on our grips. You can go wide or in close. The biggest thing is going to be to pick the one that suits your needs. For most of us, in close will be good if you have any shoulder issues, but out wide, you'll get a little better stretch in the shoulders. Nice and slow through the motions there as well. And our biggest one that everyone wants in workout day is our abdominal machine. So we'll bring the seat up so that we're not overextending and we can actually still reach everything. And the pin load, we'll put it in. You can add an extra 5 or 10 on the sides there. We'll tuck the legs underneath, lean back, forearms on. When you're grabbing the handles, it's preferable to have a nice open grip so we go through the motion without actually pulling down through our hands and using that core to concentrate your abdominal muscles as opposed to pulling through the arms and lats. Next, we'll move into workout B, and we're first starting with our leg curl. Just like our leg extension, we can adjust the lever to small, medium, or large. And most people, again, will be on our large. And then we'll set ourselves back. And we want our legs, so when we lock this in place, it'll be just above our patellar tendon. So it should not be on your kneecaps, but in front of them on your shins. And then we can pull it back. When we do this exercise, we want to pull back as far as we can, nice and slow. So we're really squeezing the back. It should get almost all the way to our butt. On our mid-row, we can adjust how close we get to it with the blue lever. This one is also a dial pad, so we'll pick our weight there. We'll sit down on the mid-row and try our best to keep our chest against the pad once we're set. So we sit up nice and tall, chest push forward, and try to pull those shoulders way back together and squeeze them at the top of that motion. The back stays nice and straight, so you shouldn't hunch over, and your legs are ahead on the platforms to keep you straight. Next, we have our bicep curls. So in there, we'll sit down. Again, another dial pad, and we're looking at the red dots on the side to make sure our elbows are in line on a proper axis point. And there, nice and steady, we'll try to bring those right up to the top of the shoulders, and we'll squeeze those at the top every time, trying to get a good pump in the arms. Next, we have our assisted pull-up. We have to make sure that the assist is up and not locked down at the bottom. There is a pin holding it there sometimes. A pin load is different than the rest because this is assistance and not resistance. So it's your body weight minus the assistance is how much weight you're actually pulling. We'll climb up, grab a good firm hold before anything else, and then one knee at a time, we'll get on and lower ourselves slowly. Pull ourselves up, just as nice and slow, and then down slow again. My suggestion here is to add close to your body weight and work your way down so you can figure out how much you can do without overdoing it. You do have to make sure that the pad and the bar is where it needs to be. You can adjust your grip to concentrate different on this exercise. As I go underhand, I get a little more activation of my biceps as opposed to the lats. Here we have our arm. Sometimes it's pushed back, so we want to make sure that's down where it is for that exercise. Last, we have our lower back exercise. Here we have a couple moving parts. You want to make sure the foot platform is in a good reasonable range so you can keep your feet firm on there. And we want our seat down to a point where the upper back pad is not on our neck, but it's closer to the top of our shoulder blades, so it's not too uncomfortable and we still get a nice, good range of motion. This one's important to go nice and steady, so 1 or 2 seconds down, 1 or 2 seconds up, instead of using a jerky motion, especially important on the lower back area. Finally, we have our hip abduction and adduction. This machine is unique because it goes 2 different ways. First, we're going to focus on our adduction. So our legs will be on the outside with the pads to the inside of our knees, and we'll squeeze in. The yellow lever helps us move out or in, farther or closer. This one you'll have to play with to see what your range of motion is. Some people can't get their legs as far as others, so use that yellow lever to figure out how far you can go. Next, we'll work on our abduction. We'll get our feet on the inside, turn those pads around, and now we want to try to push them out as wide as we can. So the pads are on the outside of the knees, and we're pushing out wide, nice and steady through this motion as well. Very important to go slowly on the way back in towards your legs. Here,